Das ist die Mainwelle und das ist Bayreuth.
Das ist Bayreuth. Prost. Das ist Bayreuth. Das ist Bayreuth.
Das ist Bayreuth. Das ist Bayreuth. Das ist Bayreuth.
Great. Welcome, everybody, to this webinar that you joined to hear more about the program, specifically about the new master program, Environment, Climate Change and Health in Bayreuth. You just saw already a little introduction video, how it is to possibly live in Bayreuth. So maybe that is you next year. Now, my name is Luc Mulling. I will be moderating this session. And before we go over to the speakers that we have lined up, I'm going to briefly explain to you some interactive options. So one of those is already showing, I see on the screen, and I'll explain that in a minute as well. But first of all, you have the option to chat. I see that already some people mentioned where they're from, so that's what we're going to ask you in a minute as well. It would be great to hear where everybody is from and to get an idea of the internationalities. Second of all, of course, most importantly, we like to hear your questions. So you can write your questions at any time through the panel called questions at the right bottom. Also, I will be opening up some polls throughout the session, especially at the end, to get some more feedback from you. So I appreciate your feedback. And by the way, both live, the audience, and the people watching the recording, you can all participate in all these options. So you can write your questions or participate in the polls, even if you're watching the recording. And last but not least, we have a little fun part. I saw already some thumbs up coming along, and indeed, we like to get those. You can submit emoticons at the bottom of the screen. You see React. There you can click on and give us some more interactivity throughout the presentation. So it would be great to see some of those, of course. Thanks a lot. And without further ado, let's start with the presentation, and we go over to the presenters of today. And they will introduce themselves briefly. Go ahead.
Look, thank you very much, and hello to everyone. And I'm keen to hear where you are from. We will see it in a minute to see who is listening to us or is watching us. My name is Eckhard Nagel. I'm the program coordinator of this new Master of Science program. Together with colleagues you will learn about in this session. I'm personally a physician and a surgeon in the area of transplantation, specifically visceral organs. But at the University of Bayreuth, I'm also responsible for the field of life science in a broader sense. at the Institute of Medical Management and Health Science. We are looking at different aspects of medical development, and our new Masters of Science program is coordinated by thoughts and scientific interests we are sharing at our university. And I'm very proud to hand over to Professor Bayer-Kuhnlein, who is the coordinator, and will introduce himself.
Yes, hello as well from my side. I'm very happy about this new program. My name is Karl Bayer-Kuhnlein. I'm the full professor chair of biogeography in geosciences. So we have a very transdisciplinary cooperation for this program, also across faculties, while linking very different fields of expertise which are really needed for this topic about environmental changes, climatic changes, and the consequences on human health. We work in our group, we work a lot with models, with climate models, but also with species distribution models. We are focused always on ecosystems, but how ecosystems are influenced by changes in the biodiversity, biodiversity loss, invasive species, but also by climate change, and how that now translates into new challenges for human health. So one particular focus of our research is on vector-borne diseases that are emerging now also in continents and areas where they have not been known before. And we apply global data sets and global big data and models for these questions. So we are experienced in international master programs. We do have already several of them, like environmental geography, global change ecology, environmental chemistry. But now this one is really unique because it really is focused on the human sphere and how this is influenced by changes in the environment. And that is obviously a very new arena that we are addressing. And I think it's always fascinating in between the chairs and in between the disciplines. And that is where you get new insights and where you hopefully also find new solutions to global problems.
Hello, everyone. My name is Marika Harderer, and I'm a research assistant in the Institute of Medicine, Management and Health Science. And I was also involved in the setup of the master's program that comes up to the winter semester this year. So I'm really excited about the interdisciplinary and international structure of the master course. And I'm really happy that you're all here. So before we go into detail to the master's program, I would like to ask you to use the chat function to tell us where are you from and where are you participating to the webinar. So just please use the chat function and comment on this question. Okay, so I've already seen from Hungary and China before, Spain. Luxembourg, Italy. Okay, it seems like all over the world. Bolivia. Okay. Anybody else who wants to share where he's from? Hungary again. Okay. So great to see you all. And as we would like to, you are from all over the world, and also the master's course, as you will see soon, is also very interdisciplinary and international. But let's go and see.
Yeah, Marika, thank you very much, and thanks to you that you shared with us the place where you are at the moment and where you are from. And what we can see is that the focus is a global one, and that is the task and the aspects with our new program we would like to look at. When I was telling you that I'm a physician and I'm involved in patient management, it is pretty obvious that at some point we have different origins of diseases, and we look at the possibility to decline risks at the pandemic situation we all shared over the last 2 years. We have seen that in different ways. But what we have not, especially in medicine, I have to admit, done is that we have looked in more detail to the question how climate and environmental changes have influenced already our biological system as humans. We at some point look at other species, but humans, at least in our areas, in many parts of the world, have denied that they could be harmed from any changes in the environment or in climate differentiations. But I think all of us over the last few years have experienced in one or the other way that there are problems, that there will be problems, and not only statistical ones, but some we really have to see on our neighbors in our country, in other areas of the world. And that's the reason why this interdisciplinary group, and especially the expertise Karl Bayer-Kuhnlein and others have hold already at the University of Bayreuth, have brought together the idea that there should be a specific generation who is taking responsibility on these development, not in terms of being responsible for what happens, but draw the right conclusions and the possible changes to our living situation, and not only focusing on the question how could we change environmental distress, but how could we look at the outcomes for humans and how could we manage the situation in the broader way. So that's the reason why we at the University of Bayreuth, at least in our knowledge, are the first university who is bringing together such an interdisciplinary program as a possible Master of Science program, which can be studied at our university. And I would like to go after the intro a little bit through the university in itself, and Karl Bayer-Kuhnlein and I will then explain to you more about the detail of the program, and Marika Haderer then will explain to you about the mission requirements and applications, and we are looking forward then to continue with your questions and hopefully find some answers to them. So if we continue, Marika, that is the space you already have seen in the intro, the campus area of the university in Bayreuth. We are proud to say that Bayreuth obviously seems to be the most typical campus university in Germany, usually specifically in larger cities. The university is in the middle of the city, is grown within different areas, but never has such a beautiful setting, as I would say, like Bayreuth has it. And I think that is very comfortable in terms of enjoyable for us as workers at the university, but specifically for our students, it's a tremendous positive impact that you are all together at a campus site and be able specifically in an interdisciplinary approach to have all the setups at the university campground, I would say, or at the university ground. But I have to admit that in the development of our university, the next slide will show you we are growing, and specifically since we are steadily growing in new fields in natural science and life science and medicine, we have established a couple of years ago new faculty of life science, which is focusing on nutrition, on movement and health, and the aspects which are combining these different scientific perspectives together in a quite similar way of how we are now would like to look at environment, climate change and health. And this is a city mainly known for Europeans by the beer of Kulmbach, the city of Kulmbach, a beautiful city. The site you can see here as a new university area is growing. The buildings are on the way, and we have there large amount of international students because the faculty is also focusing on educational programs in English, and that then gives a chance to people from all over the world to study, for example, nutritional science or global health and nutrition at this site. So in our program, both areas, the city of Kulmbach with the faculty of life science, as well as the whole university in Bayreuth, will be the spaces where we meet our students and where education programs are taking place. Next, please. So to give you an overview about our universities, when I was talking about a new faculty and was saying it's faculty 7, we already had 6 of them, and all what university can provide is scheduled in at the university at Bayreuth, from mathematics, physics, and computer science to languages and literature, humanity and social science, engineering science with a specific aspects also to biomaterials, the faculty of Karl Bayer-Kuhnlein in biology, chemistry, and earth science, and the faculty 3, law, business, and economics, where the Institute of Medical Management and Health Science is located, because up to this semester we did not have medical students, but in addition to the faculty of life science, food, nutrition, and health, we also started in the summer semester 2021 with the first clinical semester of medicine, and so now we are all over completing the cooperation with the University of Nuremberg-Erlangen, that all scientific fields are covered at our university site. So in this context, I think it is pretty obvious that we can share our knowledge if you bring it together to the students in different fields. And one of the emerging fields, as I would say, and I've expanded in the beginning, is certainly the question of environment and climate change on the one hand side, and the influences on questions on human health and the development of human health in general. And if I, as responsible for the medical school, would say, why are we locating it in such an interdisciplinary focus? Why don't we take it just up at the medical school and look at patients and say, well, there might be a correlation an infection situation by vectors, as Karl Bayer-Kuhlein just has pointed it out, or there could be sun radiation responsible for a new skin tumor. So why wouldn't we, as medicine, look at it just from the patient view? That would be much too short. And I have to admit that we at the medical school are not so far ahead in our thinking and thoughts that we really understand what happens in the environment, what happened in climate change, why could it be and will it be on influence for our patients. And therefore we need the support and we need the knowledge of other science to get closer to an understanding. And since we do it in science, getting closer, I think we can be far ahead in the question of how can we educate the youth in this area. And therefore, I'm very thankful that it was possible to bring colleagues from all faculties together to now implement the first Master of Science in that field in Germany, and therefore again go ahead at the University of Bayreuth for educational programs. Next, please. And here you can see it's a group, and very colorful and interesting and admirable, from my point of view, group of scientists from different fields, from all the faculties you just have seen, who joined that program, who give their expertise and their point of view from their scientific background in that field. And therefore, I think it's an outstanding cooperation and possibility also for you as students to get to know science in an interdisciplinary approach and to decide for yourself with your own background what will be my future in that field and how could I personally develop in a scientific but also satisfactory way for my profession. Next one. So what are the key facts of this master program? Well, I already mentioned the final degree. Marika already said it will be starting at the winter semester, but it will be winter semester only. So if you decide you want to study such a program, then you have to focus on October and November each year, because we won't be able and we won't be willing, let's say it that way, that also in the summer semester there will be a start. It's a 4-semester program. The teaching language will be focused in English, and the whole faculty will be able to teach in English, and we will will have any further implementations in German. It is a full-time study program, so it's not a part-time study program, which you at some point may wish, but here you can only prolong by another semester if you don't have the possibility to go all the time the 4 semester through. And I think what is important for specifically foreign students is a question, how high are the tuition fees? Some of you will know that there in Germany we have a state university system, and the state university system is covered by our country, by the taxpayers of our country. We only have to give a very small amount of cooperation fee as a student in the amount of 113 euros at the moment, could be rising for a few euros, but not very intensively. So we don't have tuition fees like we would maybe see it in Great Britain or in the States or in other countries. Nevertheless, I think it is very important that what we as society give in education should then support what we need as a society. So we really need responsible students who then in the end with their degree go into their profession and help societies to develop. And certainly there is a wish of an international oriented country and teaching system like in Germany, that this is be spread out worldwide. Next one, please. Yeah, so what will be tackled? I think I have already mentioned a few parts, and Karl Bayer-Kuhnlein will get into more details soon. So the interdisciplinary perspective I have mentioned, an integrative perspective also should be taken into account. That means that we really would like to take the knowledge from different areas, from natural science, from social science, from economics or jurisprudence, together into the focus of what we are looking at. And this is a fast moving and developing area. So it is very important to understand the scientific background and to use in a growing personal responsibility for interdependent analyzing, for understanding of strategies which can be used to find solutions in different ways. So it's the approach to really have an open-minded form, and certainly the willingness to tackle different scientific fields if you want to become a master of science in that field. And in more detail, I will hand over to Karl Bayer-Kuhnlein to the program as we have structured it for the 4 semesters. Please, Karl, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. And I may add to the advertisement for the study site that Bayreuth is located in a very beautiful landscape setting, very low population density for European conditions. You can, by bike or by hiking, you can reach very nice landscapes in the surrounding. So it also has a high nature and beauty and recreational value, and it's very easygoing. So it's very safe and yeah, so very uncomplicated to live in Bayreuth. And that has been proven already like more than 230 years, 20 years ago by Alexander von Humboldt, who came to this place to work for money. And he worked here for 6 years in this region and did his training on the job. And I can only recommend to do the same and to also explore nature. Now, in our teaching scheme that you can see here, of course, well, we are focused at a global, continental, large scale and at very large problems that we are addressing. So we are in an urgent need for future leaders, that people that take responsibility and have also the skills to look beyond a very specific, narrow field that they are trained in, because, well, you need to know something about climate change, you need to know something about biodiversity loss, about globalization. And I think we all experienced the new dimensions that have emerged in recent years by globalization. COVID hit us all in the most remotest places of the continent. And of course, it came from somewhere. It's a zoonosis that can be transmitted between humans, obviously, but it didn't come from nowhere. So it came obviously from other mammals. So there is still a debate about it, but there is links to, well, the human destruction of natural habitats, the access to very remote ecosystems in the tropics where you have a high diversity of pathogens. And then the speed and the connectivity between the most remotest places by human transport, traveling, transport of goods, also bringing new mosquitoes to areas where they haven't existed before and where they couldn't have lived before. But now with climate change, the conditions are changing. So we have a very complex setting of game changers. And so I think we designed a program here that qualifies you to tackle not all these problems, but some of them, and even go beyond the One Health concept, because we also focus strongly on climate change. Now, you can see here that in the first term, there are modules about climate change, about ecosystems and the human impact, like land use changes on the environment. But also the societal dimension is addressed with global health policy and decision making, of course, and being informed also about the ongoing negotiations and agreements between nations even. And then also medicine and climate change is a very strong focus, of course, in this program. And you will not find such a composition of different courses and lectures and seminars in a study that is like focused on medicine, because there you would work with patients, you would work in a clinic, you would work on specific diseases and not so much on rather general health problems that are emerging now due to globalization and climate change. We also have courses that are focused on economics and the environment. So we have the first, established like a bit more than 10 years ago, professor position for ecosystem services here. So the goods and the benefits that humans receive from nature, and that also includes cultural values, for instance, that we receive, and finally also the value for recreation and leisure. We want to train you to become a scientist that also can take a leading role in applied fields, in practice, of course, because all our topics are very much related to societal needs, as you can see here. But we also want to train you with how to communicate. We want to train you in scientific writing. We are very successful in publications, but our publications are always aiming to address specific problems that are realized in our society, because we want to make a contribution to change and to improvement. Then in the third term, so you see that you will have a choice then. So you cannot do all the modules because you will specialize in a certain field. And this includes even like sports, it includes food, it includes resource technologies, nutrition, social aspects, and global urban health, migration. So you see there's a broad spectrum of specializations that you can go for then in the third term. Then we will have a summer school where we'll train you in certain research topics, also in group works. An internship is included, and then finally in the fourth term, the master thesis. I think the success that we do have in international master programs in our university is also illustrated by the fact that in some fields, like in geosciences here, so we do have more master students than bachelor students, because students, after they made a degree somewhere in Germany or worldwide, they would have known something about what's going on in our university, and then they come for the master program. And that's why also we make this additional new offer in a field that we realize is where there is an urgent need. Humans are increasingly affecting this planet. Young people are protesting against it, but of course we need to go into action and not just complaining. And this is increasingly likely to happen because we realize, and not only we, but I think all people more or less realize that now humans are increasingly affected by these changes that they have caused. And this feedback to health, to that the most private and most important of the goods that we have is our health. So this feedback loop now has to be somehow addressed. And you cannot just do that with the end of the pipe approaches, but you cannot also solve all problems. But we have to realize the complexity of the processes that are going on. And I think this program is excellent for being trained in approaching these complex issues. Well, this is the highlighting of the third term, where you can take 3 out of these 9 offers. We have in several master programs, we have this situation that we have more offers than students can really take, but that also helps to differentiate then within your cohort of students and to specialize. Yes.
Okay, thank you. And with this structure in mind, we would like to ask you to mark your comments, which field of the shown field, the basic knowledge in the first semester, the specification in the second semester, the elective subjects in the third semester, or the summer school in the third semester, or even the internship, which is also located in the third semester. Which one do you like most? And therefore, we would like you to ask to participate in our Mentimeter. And I will also share the results. So just give you a few minutes to scan the code or check the link in the chat just to participate in this Mentimeter.
So there are several questions also. I encourage you to ask more. We will collect the questions first and come back to you soon.
Okay, and already some of you participate in the Mentimeter, and what we saw is, or what we see is that you are most interested in the elective subjects in the third semester, quickly followed by the summer school, which is also located in the third semester. So sounds like you're most interested in the upcoming semesters following the basic knowledge in the first semester.
I think that shows that some of you maybe have already a basic knowledge from their studies they have done so far. That would be then interesting for us to see what is your background and under which conditions you are interested in such a program. And certainly it's obvious that if you have solid basic knowledge of specification and elective subjects are of more interest. Nevertheless, I think what is important is for all of us from the different scientific fields to really build up a fundament as a ground on which we can stand, on which we then could specialize in the different subjects of specific interest. But I think we are on the stage and in a period where we really have to collect to build up a solid fundament altogether.
Perfect. So before we go to the admission requirements you are probably most interested in, I would like to mention some of the future perspectives you could work in. So there are a lot of fields which will be interested for you. So for example, international companies or research facilities, United Nations development or assistance programs you can attend for, political institutions or political consulting, of course, public health services, customers associations, or even media focusing on global change, environment, or health aspects. And last but not least, hospitals and health facilities. This will be all future career perspectives of you if you would attend to our new master's program. But let's go to the admission requirements. So if you're an international applicant who want to join in our new master's program, you have to upload your application documents via Uni Assist. So this is an external platform we use, and therefore you have to undergo a fee-based special procedure. And after this, which might take 6 to 8 weeks, you can use these documents for your application, which should be done by the campus online at the University of Bayreuth. So therefore, the deadline for international students is July the 15th for this year to participate in our winter semester 2022-23. So if you have done all this with the Uni Assist, we furthermore need your vita for the application, and you also have to prove your language is referring to level B2. Therefore, for example, you can use the TOEFL test or the ETL test, or for example, the first certificate in English referring to the Cambridge certificate. This also refers to level B2 plus, which is good for, or which is needed for our application for the master's program. Moreover, next to the English level, you need to prove your German skills, which should refer to level A1. However, this can also be obtained during the first 2 semesters. So you can enroll in our campus at the University of Bayreuth or in the new study program, although you cannot prove your German basic skills yet, and you still have the chance to obtain these skills within the first 2 semesters. And then we additionally need a certificate that allows you to enroll in a university, your secondary school leaving certificate, and at least, of course, your final bachelor degree. Or if you're not finished yet, you can also upload a transcript of records. However, please keep in mind, you should have fulfilled at least 150 ECTS points, and you should have at least a final German grade, which refers to 2.5. Nevertheless, there are a lot of bachelor degrees that are accepted for our new master's program, for example, in economics, social, natural, or health science, nursing, philosophy and economics, medicine, or public health. So please apply for our new master's program, and if you have any question, please feel free to contact us. Okay. So at this point, we are finished with our presentation, and we are happy to answer your questions you will have.
Great, thank you very much, all of you already. I just put the link already on the screen where you can actually apply. So there, if you click on it, you can, at your own pace after the webinar, you can have a look at the information provided and Campus Online. The platform was mentioned as well. So I will put the link, I can put the link later in the chat as well, just to make sure. In any case, as Marika just indicated, we're going over to the questions. So this is your moment to ask any questions you may have, both the live audience, but also the people that are watching the recording. You can also write your questions still. Of course, we cannot answer them live right now, obviously, but they will be sent through to the staff of the university, so they can come back to you later, possibly by email. All right, we'll start with some of the questions we received. Francis was asking, I think it's been answered, but what is the fee for this MSc program? And maybe just to clarify, one of you can answer that.
I can answer. So we do not have a tuition fee, but however, there is the semester contribution fee, which Professor Nagel already mentioned. It's about 113 euros per semester.
Yeah. Okay. I hope that clarified that. Rosalind is it an online or an offline program?
So most of the part will be offline. However, it might be that there are a few courses that are taught online, but most of them will be in presence at the university in Bayreuth.
Yeah, maybe I can add to that, since we have now quite intensive knowledge about online courses and online study conditions, also online examinations. I think we are at a point in discussion with our students that we have learned how important at some point it is to meet and to investigate topics together. And in such an interdisciplinary approach, I think it is even worth to take time together at the university in seminars, in interdisciplinary discussions. And there the meeting areas, a meeting point of a university like Bayreuth is, I think, perfect for such an interdisciplinary approach. And therefore, we really look forward, as we do it right now at the summer semester, to see our students again and to be with them.
Great. Thank you very much. Hope that answered that question. I think the next question has also been answered because it was before already provided from Scholastica. What are the emission requirements? I saw you presented that. So I think, yeah, that has been answered. Otherwise, Scholastica, excuse me, let us know if there's anything unclear. Question from Isaac. Saying, I'm a community development officer with an interdisciplinary approach in solving development challenges in communities for effective economic development and growth. So he is asking, can I get admission to study this program?
I can say yes, you could get admission to study that program. That is one of our areas where I think we already gained some more intensive information and understandings of how community development, how specifically urban structures can change the environment, in the perspective of health conditions. And so there are many aspects in your responsibility, obvious, who can then relate to the health development of the area, the village, the city. And we in Germany at the moment are in the legislation process that professions like yours have to be involved in the health development debate if they want to change, for example, to develop an area that this condition between climate and environment development and health should be tested, should be one of the arguments in terms of going the right or the left direction. So short question is yes, longer question I just gave. Thank you.